Hey everyone, welcome to Koala Gardens. Yeah, Valentine actually did just hear me talking then. He's not as close to me as he appears. I'll have to get my phone in a minute and take a bit of a extra little video of this setup that I've got. Hopefully, some people are going to find that I'm live and are going to turn up. Happy New Year, everybody. Wow. So there's been quite a bit that has gone in behind getting all of this happen. It's taken a lot of work. It's taken a whole bunch of equipment and it's taken a lot of support. And now I am just testing everything out. So I'm not sure exactly how long this live stream will go for. Partly it will depend on how many people find that I've gone live and come along. And I know that for me, it's nearly 9 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day, and it is steamy, steamy, steamy. So I am actually already feeling a bit keen after an hour and a half or so of being out koala spotting, finding the koalas and getting everything set up. I'm already just about all steamed out, and I will just stay live for as long as it takes to get a little bit of testing done, hopefully with some people here. One of the really important things I'm going to be wanting to test is going to be how this connection that I've got, which is a Starlink roaming connection, how it copes with people being in the audience and text chat going. So that actually means I'm going to be very much hoping that some people do come along, join the live audience, and do some text chatting with me. You can see Valentine seems to have a bit of an itch on his hand there that he was just dealing with. And I'll also be really interested to see how much road noise we can hear because I can tell you, yesterday I had 6 koalas on the property, and a few of them were in some spots that would have been really perfect to do live streaming from because they were in the center of the property, but close enough to some open patches where I would be able to get the Starlink set up. But what's really interesting is that today, all the koalas that were in those area, I could not find them this morning. So all of the girls are gone today. How's that? And the only one that is in that area was Woody, and he is right in the middle where I just don't know that I could have actually got um, all of the equipment set up and working. So I came back here to where Valentine is, but this is right at the very northern tip of the property where it's the corner of two rows. Happy New Year, Rob. You are the first to actually come along and see me doing a live stream. So, how amount is that? How, sorry, not how amount. Ah, well, isn't this great? I have just got an overlay, has gone onto my video. I, there's a whole story behind trying to get my camera hooked up to my Mac and proprietary software and upgrades. And it was recommended. Did I expect anything else? Right. And so it was recommended that I try this. And now it's given me a few minutes of usage and has said that I have to pay for a license for it. So, and it's calling it an obnoxious overlay. Wowie. Well, And the really good thing, Rob, is do you remember a few years ago, I actually tried one live stream. So in reality, this is my second attempt at it, and I actually tried one live stream. And when I did that live stream, as soon as people started text chatting, we had all sorts of trouble because I didn't have a fast enough connection. And it's hard to tell at the moment because you're the only person in the audience. But so far, having you and I do some text chatting isn't impacting on the connection at all. Just this obnoxious overlay. I can't believe that. It's pretty funny, really. I wonder whether I might have to just go and have a look at paying the license for this because it's the only one that I know that will connect my camera up. So now, while I'm live streaming and you're seeing parts of this, and it doesn't really tell me whether or not, doesn't really, of course, when you're doing something like this while you're going live, you're going to have all kinds of things happen to you, aren't there? Yeah. It's like Valentine being censored. It's like it really is. And there he is, just sitting there being so cool about the whole situation. So I'm really fortunate because I have patrons who give me such amazing support. So what I am going to do is I'm going to um, purchase the license and see if I can get this sorted out because it doesn't. I'm really not sure how long it's going to take them to sort out the proprietary software that used to make it so easy to hook the camera up to the computer. And so, as I said, I'm really lucky that I have some amazing patrons who support me. And this is the kind of thing that patrons' money can go towards doing is helping me out by being able to pay for a license for this. Now, oh, Val, you've just arrived. Happy New Year. Val, something really hilarious has happened. I got the live stream working, got it running, and after only about 5 minutes of streaming, this stupid unlicensed thing has gone up across my screen, and I'm just sorting that out by paying for a license. And it never said when you downloaded it that you actually needed like to pay a license to use it. And all the testing I did from it, it it worked fine. So I will just have to now hopefully get all of this sorted out. And they have not yet sent the license to me. I know. It's a long story, Val. I've been working for weeks and weeks to try and get live streaming happening. And after sorting out, a piece at a time, the next piece would go wrong. And finally the proprietary camera software, he's having trouble getting comfortable, isn't he? Oh, don't turn your back on us, mate. Hang on, I better go over to the camera because he's how much is he going to move? And now he's really like blocked off. Anyway, the camera proprietary software won't work since an upgrade to my Mac operating system that happened a long time ago. It is King Val, and they still haven't caught up with it. So, I've paid for this, but they're taking a long time to send me my license information so that I can get rid of this, what they called it, the obnoxious overlay. And it certainly is an obnoxious overlay. And uh, all we can see is his beautiful little head now as I try to sort all of this out live on air while you're all watching. And you would think, wouldn't you, that if you pay for a license, that they would email it through to you straight away. But yeah, at least Valentine's just sitting up there, totally oblivious to all of this. And for some reason, it is really taking a long time for them to send me this. One of the really good things, though, is that everything else so far with the live stream is testing. So, oh, hey, Jules. Oh, now we got three people here and the chat's working and it doesn't seem to be slowing the video down at all. We've just got to try and get rid of this obnoxious overlay that I really would have liked to have known about. Actually, a question I've got for you all is while we're looking at Valentine and I'm talking, can you at times hear very much of traffic on the roads? Because I'm right up at the top corner of the property, at the corner of the two roads. So it's kind of the worst spot to be live streaming from. The cicadas are going to start getting pretty noisy too. That's great, Rob, because I'm actually just got my brand new um, AirPods arrived yesterday, and so this is my first time using the new AirPods. So that's really good news. The AirPods might actually filter that noise out for me, but I've paid now for this thing, and what a great way to go live though with some of my longest koala supporter friends being here with me at the time of testing everything. That's really pretty terrific. Oh, and you know what I really hate is when you're in Australia and you buy something from a company and they don't make it clear on their site that they're charging you in US dollars. So with the price difference, that meant instead of 44 Australian dollars, because that's, they just don't make it clear, that's probably going to make it about $68 or something Australian once the conversion happens. But the money has come out of my PayPal, has paid for it, and yet they've still not sent me the license information so that I can. Oh, yeah, I was exactly right. $68.55. pity they don't send the license detail to PayPal for you. Aw, thanks, Val. You just did a super chat, so that's helping pay for that software. The weather, it is so hot. It is so steamy. I'm actually dripping in sweat now. Absolutely dripping. Hang on, I'm gonna have to move that camera a little bit. Right. So he's obviously a little bit hot. I wonder if I can be sneaky. Look, what if I do that? So that even though now it means he's over on the side of the image, we actually get to see more of Valentine than when I have him in the middle of the screen. Oh dear. While I wait for them to send me my license information. Yeah, it's pretty annoying that they didn't immediately send me my license information. And now Valentine's having a scratch. He's bending over and having a good grooming session now. You can see how he's chosen a really thin. Yeah, he's uncensored. He's just sitting right on the side, Rob. I mean, it works. We can see all of him for the moment, which is better than when I had him in the middle and that stupid camera was over the top of him. And I've got Koala Dave is messaging me on my phone at the moment while I'm talking. So I want to give a big shout out to Koala Dave. And looks like Valentine's going to go even higher. What I might do is just pull back, and it's a bit hard, but you can see that he's quite a way up that tree there. And now I'll zoom back in on him. And trying to get the exact right bit between having having it zoomed in enough to see plenty of him, but being able to fit outside that overlay while we wait for them to send me my license information. There we go. He's half turned his back on us. It was funny because as I was setting up to do the live stream, he was facing that way, and I set just about everything up over the other side of the tree. And then he went and turned himself all the way around, and I had to move half the equipment and set it up all over again. So that was pretty funny. And now it is going to be pretty hot today, and it's not going to be actually hugely hot. What's happening at the moment is our temperatures have cooled down quite a bit. So I don't know who can do the math. It's only going to be about 29, which should so Rob understands that because where Rob and Jules live, it's Celsius that they work in. And so it's going to be about 29, which I think should be up close to about 90. Um, but that's not the really big thing. The really big thing is the UV index. So our UV index is going to go up to 12 at the moment. At the moment, it's only 5, but I think at the moment it's actually it's 70% humidity at the moment. It's in the mid 80s, is it? Val, thanks. I know a really quick, rough way to do the calculation, but it's not exactly accurate. And that is that you double the figure and add 30. So I guess if you double 29, that would be 58, and add 30, that would be 88. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's not going to be super hot like we've been up to 100 and more a week or two ago, but it's still just, uh, it's very steamy. And if you can't hear the road noise, I'm going to guess that you're also not hearing the cicadas because the cicadas are starting to um, get pretty noisy now. And also, do you hear any birds? Because at times, I mean, I've got a whip bird near me and it's just making gorgeous noises. There's, I think I can hear at times the noises of probably about 8 different birds. Oh, look at him. He's going to go up even higher, even higher. There we go. That's caught him. Oh, so you can hear wildlife. That's really good. You're getting Goo plus. What's Goo plus? So you can hear all those birds, can you, Rob? Because they've really been quite beautiful at the moment. Oh, and look at Valentine. He's just gazing down at us like what am I doing? That's all right, Val. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay here because this is just my first test, but I'm, going to try and hang out for a little while. Oh, that's great that you can hear the birds. It must be something about the sort of I don't know, something about the pitch maybe, which is really nice. Oh, there's a whole bunch of crows going off just at the moment. But that whipbird makes that noise. It's kind of like a and quite a beautiful noise. That was it just then. So, according to what I can see from in here, there's 5 people that are watching at the moment. So, if you haven't said hello, please do in the chat here. Just give a wave and say hi because it says that there's 5 people watching and there's only 3 people that have been talking in the chat. Although I've got it set on only the top chat instead of all of the chat, which is a bit, I don't know why they even have that setting. And I still don't have a code to get rid of that stupid overlay. But look at him reaching back there, just laying back, giving a good scratch, having a look around. He might decide that he's going to have something to eat. Wouldn't that be cool? Let me just zoom back out a little bit. Well done. What a show he's putting on. Ah, I'm so glad that you can hear the sounds of the wildlife because the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking I've probably heard 10 or 12 different birds out there, which is what really. Can you hear the kookaburras? They're laughing just now. It's funny, kookaburras laughing is still one of my favourite sounds, even though I've heard it all my life. I just love it so much. A big salad, that sounds like a good dinner. Valentine's having a big salad up there too, but he's really only got a one ingredient salad, which is a swamp mahogany. Yeah, he's let it go. I don't know if he's all that serious about eating this meal or not. Mind you, if he eats too much up there, he's not going to have much shade once that sun really takes off. So, is it the new year yet for everybody? Has to be for you, Rob. No, no, yeah. Is it 11:30? Going on for 11:30, Rob? And what about you, Val? What's the time there? I think I know the time difference for where Rob is because I'm often talking to Lynn on Discord, and it kind of gets has gotten me a bit used to the time zones. Nope, I'm wrong. It's 10:30. Okay. Yeah, we're heading towards 10:30. Okay. And Valentine has decided that, yeah, he wasn't really hungry. He was just doing a little bit of, um, you know, I'm here and there's a tasty leaf, so I'll have a couple, kind of eating rather than really needing to eat. And you can see that it's a pretty blue sky above him. There is a few little clouds around. It is supposed to rain a little bit later this afternoon. What kind of temperatures are you having there in the UK, Rob and Joy? Even though he's kind of looking down at me now, he's really just staring off into space, I think. Currently around 0. Okay. That's definitely not a temperature that I can truly imagine properly. I've seen some amazing photos that people have taken of the snow and things in different parts of the world. Oof. Okay, so 0 is still warm for the UK in winter. It's been a bit strange actually. Some places have been having colder temperatures than what they should, and some have been having some days that have been nearly back to summer. So yeah, it's been really strange. And every now and then I keep trying to just have a look and see why that stupid camera company haven't given me the license details to update with, and I just can't find anything. So at least we can see all of Valentine. He's just a bit smaller than he could have been if I'd been able to um, zoom in on him properly with him in the center of it all. Try and zoom in a little bit more. It can be really difficult to make fine movements to a camera that's on a tripod. Now he's just basically draping himself over everything. Oh no, he's going to maybe get on the move again. Oh, that's really kind. He's just turning his back to us completely. Like, yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Huh. Sean, hello. I'm having some funny issues, Sean. So I'm sorry about that ugly thing in the middle of the screen, and we're trying to kind of cope with it by just keeping Valentine on the side of the screen for the moment. But the app that I found that finally allowed me to get my camera hooked up decided after using it a couple of times, after using it for about 5 minutes, that I had to pay for a license key. And the license key has just come through, everybody. So it was a great use um, of my Patreon money to be able to just pay for that license. And just activating that license key. And oh, look, yes, we got rid of that ugly, ugly overlay. And now I can put bullet back in the middle of the screen. Bullet. Sean, why did I say bullet? It's because you arrived that my brain went to bullet. Because your username is bullet with Sean, that I called Valentine bullet all of a sudden. I wish he hadn't turned his back on us like he has just when I finally got everything working properly. Sorry, as I said, it can be really hard to make just little fine changes to a camera when it's on a tripod because you've got to make all the changes to the actual tripod. Yeah, as if by magic. I I'm just going to have a little bit of a walk around and just see if I can possibly just move the camera to a slightly better position. So I'll just have a little bit of a walk and see what I can see. Because what I have to be careful of is that if I go in some directions, I'll just have the camera pointing towards the sun. And I am a little bit limited by how long different chords that I've got are. And the problem is that from the other side of the tree, it kind of might feel by here, by looking at him from here, that if I was around the other side of the tree, we'd see him. But from around the other side of the tree, all we get is leaves. It's not too bad if he at least puts his head to the side a little bit and gives us a bit of a look at him. He was a lot more active earlier, Sean, before you came along. But the great thing is that um, while I'm live streaming, and like I said, even though there's not a lot of people text chatting, the text chatting is not impacting on the live stream at all. So it would appear that getting a hold of this um, Starlink Mini that I've got that I can move around the property with me is going to allow us to be able to do some live streaming, which could be really nice for people. I mean, at times I might even electronic freak. Hello, it's so good to see you. And we've got Valentine here having a bit of a scratch, having a good time. And oh, he's on the move. I think he's a bit hot. Ah, that's better, mate. Yeah, we'd be happy if he stayed like that, looking directly at us. That's exactly what we want, Valentine. Oh, Carolyn, you're here too. Oh, wow, this is great. New Year's Eve for a lot of you. It's New Year's Day for me. I decided I was going to have myself a bit of a day off today, and I would spend part of that having a day off just getting this equipment sorted out, doing a big test, and I'm just standing here beside my quad bike now and chatting to all of you. Oh, he's on the move again. So it is it's really sticky hot. The the cicadas there aren't any cicadas, thankfully, in these trees just around where I'm standing. Otherwise, it would be deafening for me. But the cicadas are all going. The humidity's pretty high. I've stopped sweating a little bit now, but when we first started, I was just standing here, just dripping with sweat. But definitely, when this live stream's over, I will actually just go back to the house and have a cool shower. Valentine is looking good, isn't he? And how kind that he did turn around after he just turned his back on us completely. So 2026 is hopefully going to be the year of live streaming, and as I get better at it, I'll have to try and kind of come up with a bit of a format for them, and I'll probably do a few posts to my patrons and do some social media posts and just kind of try and gather some information about the best way to do live streaming. Like, do people, for example, want me to just be quiet and um, bring some workout with me and sit beside the equipment and just let the live stream go as though you were, watching one of the long plays, or would we make live streams a time to do some live Q&As about koala stuff, or what? There's a few different ways we could kind of make them work. So be something good for you to even be sort of thinking about how you might think you would be the most interested in seeing live streams, and we can kind of work together on getting some of that working. I totally agree, Rob. When it comes to Valentine, every side is definitely his best side. Yeah, you're quite right. He's getting used to being famous. He's pretty unflappable, and I did kind of do a zoom back out and then zoom back in before, and he is quite a distance away from me. Um, so I'm not as near to him as the camera always appears, but yeah, Bullet himself is pretty flappable. And he might get even more famous if he ends up. It's going to be interesting to see who do we get to see on a live stream the most often, because I'm pretty willing to bet that it's likely to be Valentine, because because Valentine tends to be the one who is the closest to the house. Um, and what that means is that he's probably likely to be one that's closer to an area where I can get the little satellite set up, because that's the biggest trick of it. I'm standing and have the quad bike underneath the treed area, but the actual satellite has to be over outside the treed area so that it gets that clear view through to the actual satellites, of course. Signed photos will be available after the stream. It's so good. He's starting to look like he has settled a little bit. He's been a little bit fidgety, even ate a little bit at one point, had a few grooming sessions. He's moved up, he's moved down, and he is looking like he might be starting to settle in for his proper sleep. Oh, welcome back, Val. You had to refresh the page. Okay. The internet can be a strange place, that's for sure. And Val, at least I don't know if the horrible overlay had been fixed before you had to refresh the page, but thankfully they finally sent me that that information, and I was able to update and get rid of that and put Valentine back proudly in the middle of the screen, taking up pretty much the whole thing. It sure is much better without that overlay taking up the most of the screen. He's giving us a pretty good demonstration of everything he can do best, isn't he? The way he's just like half leaning back, eyes half closed, just like, yeah, I'm the king. You're down there. Indeed, Julie, a true showman. Yeah, the over the shoulder look. He has been rehearsing, Rob. It's been a couple of years of rehearsing, and he's been wondering why it's taken me this long to really put him in the full limelight. But okay, here it is. You're having your moment now, mate. I hope you are all bowing. And don't forget to smash that like button too, because that makes a big difference on how much YouTube is going to be promoting this live stream out to people. Definitely the Oscar winner, hands down. Well, it's kind of that funny mixture, isn't it? That it looks really uncomfortable, and it looks like the stick is like, yeah, just about going right up their butt, and yet they'll just stay there for hours and sleep like it's the best thing ever. So it's something that always amazes me about koalas is somehow they can make the most uncomfortable places look like the most palatial setting you could imagine. World's worst wedgie. Uh, hey, buddy. I think he heard you guys saying that. The look he's giving me. It's also a really good testing for me of the equipment because I my laptop was actually nearly out of battery when I started because I'd been using it last night, and it's now at 98%. And it's and we're also running the Starlink, of course, and I've been live streaming for it's getting close to an hour, and yet I've still got 83% battery on the Bluetti that is powering all of this stuff. So it's really quite a good test out of everything. I mean, it's going to take the Bluetti nothing to power just the Starlink, but to be able to know that I can completely recharge the laptop without using up much power at all is fantastic. And what I also bought was I bought a set of solar panels, and I can actually recharge the Bluetti with solar panels, so that it gives me the capability of having the Bluetti power thing to do the live streaming with, but it also now gives me complete backup power for the next time there is some big catastrophe here and I'm without power for days on end. So, Rob, you probably remember the most the 2022 floods and how difficult that was here with everything that happened with losing power and everything for that. And now that I've got this little Bluetti, it's It's like not only will it allow me to live stream, but it also gives me a backup here. Come on, mate, look at that. Like, really, are koalas real? They are just amazing, aren't they? Oh, yeah, I've still got that water filter. That eh, having this Bluetti won't give me water. So, what it will mean is that I will be able to completely recharge everything, be able to have an internet connection, all of those things. So, so it'll make a huge difference, Rob. But the water filter that you got me is what will it could actually be the lifesaver. And Val, your comment about how that would hurt your butt, I think that that really demonstrates, why that cartilage pad that the koalas have across their lower back is just so incredible because I'm sure that that's how they can actually manage to sleep comfortably on sticks that look like, they're just going to cut them in half. Yeah, Rob, honestly, I'm at many times, I'm just so humbled by the generosity of the amazing people that are in the community or my family really that follow the work that I do here. It's just absolutely so beautiful. So having said all of that, I think that Rich would be all right with me shouting out Rich in Alaska, who stepped up and purchased that Bluetti for me, which was a pretty significant donation to make. And I then saved the money to buy the solar panels that I can recharge it with. But between just the way everybody gets behind everything here, it's really just totally stunning. Val, I think you totally should adopt King Val. I mean, that just only makes sense, doesn't it? Val with King Val. And see that nose of his going. It looks like he's sort of having a bit of a smell of something there. I wonder if something came wafting along up there. Oh, that's interesting, Sean. I mean, I know that I was not a big meat eater, and I slowed down on eating meat, and then it was really the environmental side of things that made me decide not to eat meat. And I think everybody needs to do what they feel is the right thing for them, and doesn't always matter what it is, you know, there's 8 billion people on the planet. So if every one of 8 billion people just made one small change, that would be 8 billion small changes that were made, and that would suddenly be huge. Yeah, Carolyn, I am close to vegan. I will occasionally eat eggs. I will occasionally, if I'm out somewhere, I will have something with cheese on it, etc. But I haven't eaten meat for years, and I don't miss it. Um, but I really believe that every person, and you know, Jane Goodall said it really beautifully, that we can all make a difference, and it's up to each one of us to do whatever we can. And that's not, you know, it's not all to do with what you eat, but I do think that it is a really good way of making a stand against certain types of industries. But as I said, if 8 billion people did one small change, that would be 8 billion small changes. And I know that I could still make a lot of changes in my life. And whenever I kind of realize that, you know, I could start doing this or that differently, I do start doing that. And I always feel so much better if I've consciously changed how I do something so that I'm a bit more conscious about my footprint that I'm leaving behind on the environment. That's pretty nicely zoomed in on him now, isn't it? Like he's completely just filling that screen. And the way he's just like hanging there, crazy. What time is it there, Sean, for you? And what about you, Carolyn? I think it's now 11 p.m. for Rob in and Julie in the UK. Oh, Val, I've lost what time it is for you. And so Sean, it's 3 p.m. and Carolyn's 6 p.m. Sean, is that 3 p.m. on New Year's Eve? Wow. You've still got 9 hours before you tip over into the old 26. And yeah, wow. And Carolyn, what country are you in? I know you've told me, but I do apologise, I've forgotten. So it's 6 p.m. Okay, Carolyn, you're in the US. Yep. Yeah. Sean, for some reason, I remembered you were in Canada and Val was in the US, but I just wasn't so sure about Carolyn and Rob and Julie in the UK. Occasionally, you can see little insects sort of flying around Val there. We are certainly the land of many insects, that's for sure. I don't know how he even manages to stay holding on when he lets go with his right hand, but he's crazy. He is. He's up quite high, so he's just every now and then he opens his eyes a bit and just surveys all his kingdom and closes his eyes again. Yeah, their hearing's pretty good, Carolyn. That's a great question. It's not like it's better than ours, and you can see that they do have mobile ears, so that really helps a lot because if a sound is coming from a little bit behind them, they can turn their ear around to tune in on it better. What I find really interesting. I just listened to a great series of podcasts by Stephen Fry about the brain, and in one of the episodes, they were actually really talking about sight, but you can also put that across to hearing, and that is that a lot of hearing is actually to do with the brain and what's important to them, and so what I find with koalas is um, when people come here and we're walking, I'm just gonna stand to him a tiny bit more. When people come here and we're walking through the bush, it can become quite obvious that uh, koalas will choose to respond to different types of things. So, what I mean by that is uh, they they rarely take any notice of me coming along on the quad bike. And what I'm really pleased to have found out is that I'm actually standing right at the very top corner of the property, and that being a corner. There's two roads here, and it's great that my AirPods are working so well that you guys are not able to hear the traffic going past. But for koalas, except for ones who manage to be in the most remote locations, koalas are hearing traffic all of the time. And when they're hearing traffic all of the time, they really learn to tune that traffic out. And so when I come along on the quad bike to the koalas that are used to being here, it's just another of the sounds that they filter out. And so it's not that they don't hear me coming because interestingly enough, if I get off the quad bike and I start walking along the ground, a koala that took notice of the quad bike coming might suddenly pop its head up and start looking around down at the ground to see what's coming when they hear footsteps. So even when they're a fair way up the tree, they can hear footsteps unless they're in a really deep sleep. So I think that that's a pretty good indication that their hearing is quite acute. And because it's kind of hard to test animals for hearing because you've got to be able to interpret like what what they think about the hearing. And so by the same token, therefore, Caroline, he can hear me talking, but it means nothing to him. And talking really super means nothing to koalas because they have so little social interaction. And most of the social interaction they have is pretty silent as well. And so if it's very quiet and I were to come along and if my phone were to ring and I were to answer it, that sound of my voice would possibly wake a koala up, if I was right at their tree. But it's quite unlikely that it's going to do more than wake the koala up for a moment, and then they're likely going to just ignore it again because it means nothing to them. And he's really looking like he wants to get comfy and go to sleep. And I think it might be because it's really sticky hot. It is really sticky hot. It does, Carolyn. And I think that for them, footsteps make sense to their brain that that is something approaching that could be danger. Whereas if a koala has grown up in an area where there are roads, they're sleeping in the tree and they hear traffic go up and down, up and down, up and down, and that sound never reaches them. It doesn't climb up the tree and get them, kind of thing. So they just block it out as not being an important sound. Whereas footsteps, I think, to the koala brain, have more um, likelihood of being something that could result in something that's dangerous. So, yeah, I do totally think that, Carolyn. The sense of smell is definitely their strongest sense, most definitely. Um, and yeah, Rob, they do acclim now, actually, Rob, I really like that you've just asked that. That they acclimatise to local regular sounds, and they do, um, but what we do know is that urban koalas have high cortisone or cortisol levels, and that means that they're having, that their adrenaline glands are more active than for koalas that are in a dense bush area. Their behavior will be much the same, right? They will just be sleeping like they do when they're out in the bush, but the fact that those cortisol levels are higher indicates to us that, whilst outwardly they appear to be climatizing, they actually are stressed by by those situations. So It's a really I really like that you asked that because, it's such a different subject to, the hearing, so, yeah, they're not outwardly reacting to it like, "Oh, I just heard a car coming," but, it does appear that urbanization does give them a lot of stress. I have just recently written a really big essay on koala communication, and it took me quite a while to write it, and my, Discord following gave me fantastic questions to base all of what, I wrote on, but then kind of, organising footage I've got of koalas so that I can kind of put it together to make some video and present it that makes sense is going to take me a little bit longer. But it may be something that we can also partly do with some live screen streams is maybe even, use them as some Q&A times and talk about some of these things because there was a time when koalas were thought to not be very intelligent, but one of the really big problems with humans measuring intelligence is that we look at anything that's different to us as being lower than us. That's that's a real human trait, isn't it? And it's taken quite a lot of years of science to begin to understand that koalas have some quite superior qualities that make little sense to us because we can't do everything by sense of smell, for example, because we simply don't have that kind of sense of smell. And that's exactly correct, Carolyn. Stressed koalas are likely to get sick easier because disease at the end of the day is a natural body's response to stress. So, um, so yeah, it's exactly correct. I always say that to people who say that koalas aren't very smart. I always say I'd like to see you live up in the treetops for just a couple of days and jump from branch to branch. And that's where it's even been hard to measure what koala how good is koala eyesight because again too often we're only measuring according to what we think is good eyesight and not measuring according to what kind of eyesight and what kind of brain interpretation of that eyesight did koalas need when living in the dense canopies of old growth forests. That is a totally different type of eyesight to what humans have. And so, yeah, it's a real failing that humans have when they try to measure things about animals. And Val, I'm presuming when you say if only you have a tree house, I'm presuming you don't mean the kind of tree house that Valentine is lounging in right now. Ah, yeah, no, we really couldn't tell anything with it. And it's kind of one of the things that makes humans so amazingly smart is that we can build laboratories and devise tests that can measure all kind of things, and yet at the same time makes us so less than smart when you consider that there are animals who can just do all of that. immediately on the spot. That's a fantastic point, Rob. Um, the reason, like the way that we use our site and the reasons we're using our site is so different. I think that being up in a dense canopy, yeah, visually we would be at a huge disadvantage that the koala is not at. And I've seen it so many times when I'm watching a koala and I'll go, oh, that koala's about to jump. And I can see the koala doing the math. And, they just calculate it all in their heads and whoop, off they go. They are underappreciated, Carolyn. I had somebody at the last market stall I did just before Christmas. Was genuinely, it was a really good conversation. He was genuinely asking me what, like, what, what is the purpose of the koala? And to answer that, you have to go back in time because, please don't take me wrong in this, but um, at the moment, the koalas are not really filling an ecological um, role because their forests are so depleted and their numbers are so depleted, they're barely hanging on to exist. They don't have these beautiful balanced ecosystems that they're filling their role in. But if you step back a few hundred years to those dense old growth forests where there were millions of koalas moving through them, they were keeping the fire load down and they had a hugely important role. When we're in a situation now where we've just got scattered bits of trees and just one koala here and there, they're not able to fulfill that role properly. But that would have just been a hugely, hugely important role at the time. 6 more hours to fill till it's New Year. Oh dear. It feels so strange because it's like New Year is past over 10 hours ago for me. It's a strange old world, isn't it? The round world. And dare I say it, he does seem to have actually fallen asleep this time. Oh, Rob, uh, I think I think I need to quote that at times. That's absolutely perfect. Their role now, a living symbol of what we could lose. Yeah, it's so true. It's just so true. I had some people here for a tour a month or two ago, and they had started at the top tip of Queensland and had been touring all down the east coast and had spent many, many, many days during all of that out walking in the bush, doing all kinds of, looking around natural areas and had not seen a single koala. And it was, just, it was so sad. And they came here, and I think I only had about three here on that day. And they were just so excited that they got to actually see three koalas. And unfortunately, even seeing three or four koalas on this property is quite a high density of koalas. So yesterday I saw 6 koalas, um, but even if I only see 2 or 3, that's actually pretty good going. Oh, so great to see you, Val. Um, Happy New Year to you indeed. It's not quite the new year for you yet, but um, I can tell you it does come. It will come. Thank you so much for stopping in for the live stream. I really appreciate it. You've been here for a good hour or so. And as the sun is so slowly climbing a bit higher, I'm having to try and find some ways to keep my computer a little bit cooler. I could probably actually put it down on the ground even. It's going to be it's going to be quite a thing for me to sort of work out doing these live streams because each time I do them they're going to be different because it's going to, be a different spot on the property, different weather um, to deal with, etc. So it's going to be quite a learning experience, but at least we have the camera working now. Oh, thanks, Carolyn. I have been wanting to do live streaming for a couple of years, and um, I did about 3 years ago. I think I did try doing a live stream, and I just didn't have a good enough internet connection. And as soon as the text chatting started, it interfered with it all, and it just wouldn't work properly. And I now have, through the huge generosity of Rich in Alaska, I now have um, the ability to. I've got what's called a Starlink Mini, which is a satellite connection that you can just carry around with you, but you still need to plug it into power, and that's where the huge generosity of Rich in Alaska came in, and he provided me with a Bluetti uh, big power block, and I'm going to have a look at it and see how it's going now. An hour and a half in, and it's still got 78% power, so it's keeping my laptop charged, and it's also powering the Starlink. And Rich is amazing. He got he is a bit of a techie person, and I found out about the Starlink Mini, and I just started talking to him about the ideas of whether it would work or not. And he was the one who realised that I would have to be able to carry a power source around with me, and decided to solve that problem. So I then, with my money, um, saved up for a few months, and I then bought some solar panels so that I can actually recharge that power block with solar panels. So I'm not sure if you were here earlier when I was saying that, but now it's amazing. Here I am sitting out on the property, camera zoomed in up there on bullet, and talking to all of you at the same time. That's a pretty special sort of feeling. Rich, you're here. We were just talking about how amazing you are. So good to see you. I'm so glad that you got a notification and saw that we're up and live, because it's so good to have you part of the first live stream, and it's all working perfectly. I did have some fun with the camera at the beginning that's been sorted, but it's yeah, it's all working purposely, perfectly. Ah, good question, Rob. To be honest, I don't know because I know what I. So Rob's asking, do we know if koalas see in color or black and white? But I do know that they have actually changed their minds on some of what they used to say about a lot of animals only seeing in black and white. So I don't know. It has come together rich, and there's Valentine giving he's been giving us a terrific display. Every now and then he's turned his back on us, but he's pretty hot. I tell you, Rich, it's hot. I'm kind of yeah, I'm gonna need a shower at the end of this. It's hot and it's steamy, but that's Australia in the summer, of course. Wish I could move that stick that's in front of his face. Now, it might get a little bit bumpy, but I'm actually going to move the camera a little bit because as the sun is changing, the camera is now in the sun, and I want to get the camera out of the sun. So bear with me, and we'll see how this moving of the camera goes. And let's put the camera back in the shade. Because funnily enough, this kind of equipment doesn't really like being in the full sun. Yes, Rich, we are literally at the pretty much the very top northern tip of the property, right on the corner where the two roads meet in part of the plantation. Yeah, Valentine looks cool and relaxed. And I mean, it would be cooler up there in the, um, in the trees with a bit of breeze on you. So he's probably in one of the better of the spots. But oof, it's hot if you get any sun on you. And I'm just moving a few things again because the sun, of course, keeps moving, and so what was in shade becomes in the sun and everything, etc. You're back, Val. Good on you. But you looked after your two girls, didn't you? You did what they needed for them, and then came back. I've now ended up putting my computer down under the front of the quad bike, and I'm kind of sitting on the ground down there with it to try and be in the shade of the quad bike and escape some of the sun. Yeah, it's pretty hard to leave Valentine. And I'm impressed that that there's a few of you around because I really wasn't sure, being New Year's Eve, whether people would be, busy with family and friends or whatever. So it's really nice to see people here enjoying getting a good little koala fix. Caroline, you are doing the good work there. You're with other people and forcing them to learn about koalas. I love it. That's just that is that's just made me happy for the rest of the day. What a great start to the year. Rich, at the moment, it's gone up a little bit now. At the moment, the temperature is 27, but it says it feels like 30. Um, and the UV index at the moment is 8. It's going to go up to 12 within the next hour and a half or so. But I am under the shade of some trees. I think that all of you do an amazing job in spreading the news about koalas and why we need to care about the environment. You're all just amazing in doing so many things to do that. And Rich, it's also very humid. It's very, very steamy. So I feel very damp. Looking forward to a shower. And Rich, I don't know if you were here when I just said before. So I've had my laptop plugged in. My laptop was nearly out of battery when I started this morning. Um, and I deliberately didn't charge it overnight because I wanted to also be testing the Blue Eddy. And so an hour and a half into streaming, and the laptop is fully charged. And of course, it's running the Starlink, and it's still got 78% battery. So um, it's a really neat little system. It'll certainly run loads of stuff, and it's true, Val. Everything is connected, isn't it? And if the koala forests dwindle, like so many types of forests have dwindled, it's going to have a huge impact on all human life. I think he did finally find the comfy spot, although how that's comfortable, of course, none of us can quite imagine. But he's not fidgeting and fiddling about like he has so much of the time before this. Oh, indeed, Rob. I mean, the UK is such a huge, example when you understand how few insects there are there now. Um, it's just, oh, it's just incredible, isn't it? Just incredible. And some of the wildlife that were in those UK forests were just stunning, just stunning. Carolyn, he's sitting on a slightly thicker branch, but you can see how he's kind of leaning a lot of the front of his body against that trunk of the tree now. So he's obviously trying to absorb some um, some of the coolness in. Yeah, that's true, Rich. There were a few little things buzzing around before, but to be honest, it's too hot for the bugs now. They've all gone to find somewhere to just hide now. They'll come out later this afternoon. It's amazing, Rob. Australia, from white man perspective, is such a new country. So, um, there in the UK, you've got so many um, marks of civilization, moving through and making the changes that were made over many, many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And then you look at Australia and like we did it all so fast, just, just so fast. It's ridiculous. Uh, what bugs are big enough over there to carry children away? Well, I don't. I'm thinking that there's some joke behind that one. Not quite that big, but my um, got some beautiful Titan stick insects here, and they are like a couple of feet long. And in this section where I'm sitting, there's a lot of them, but I don't often see them. And because they're so hard to see because they just look like they're a part of the tree. But anytime I do see them, they're just so stunning. Mosquitoes. Yeah, we definitely have mosquitoes. Carolyn, no, I don't. I don't water the trees. No. So once they, um, like any that are self-sown, they either survived and grew up into a tree or they didn't. Some of the trees that we planted were given a few waterings in the first 6 months of life, but only if conditions were really, really dry. Oh no, crossbreeding of wild cats with domestic cats. That's really sad, Rob. It's really sad. I believe badgers. I believe that they are really something not to mess with. It's, not something that I really know about properly here, but yeah, I believe that badgers are not something that one should be messing with. It's just such a human thing, isn't it, to bring animals and plants into different places and, what could possibly go wrong. Ah, same family as the wolverine. Thanks, Rob. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Yeah, Klinger really liked that particular row of trees, didn't he, Val? I honestly, almost every single day when I ride past them, I think of Klinger. It's like that row of trees are just they're just the biggest Klinger memory that I've got, and it's a lovely thing when I'm moving about the property. So much of what I see as I'm moving about is actually tied to memories of great koalas and things that have happened with them when I've been here. Rob, Grant, the koala, was he there when you were over here in Australia and you went to Port Macquarie? I know, Val, because I was, would always be wondering why those particular trees always looked so terrible and couldn't work out what was different about them. And now they're the same size and almost in better shape than some of the other trees that were planted at the same time. So it's amazing. He was actually doing them a bit of a favor, I think. It looks to me like Valentine has like really gone out into a deeper sleep. Can you see how relaxed his posture is now compared to when he was kind of just snoozing before? Right, Rob. I thought Grant was one of the ones that was in permanent care when you were over here. And for those who wonder what I'm talking about, Rob actually came over. I'll have to get Rob to tell us what year that was because I forget now what year it was. But Rob came over to Australia and volunteered at Port Macquarie Koala Hospital for, I think, a month. And during that time, he jumped on a bus and came up and did a visit here as well. I'm going to guess it was maybe about 2017. Yeah, he really looks so relaxed. Oh, 2018. Ah, okay. I was close. I was only out by a year. Yeah, it was fantastic. It's a really good month to be in Australia because it's still a bit coldish, but it's really pretty pleasant. And yeah, doing that month at Port Macquarie, that just it was a huge dream. And I think that's back when I used to be the Saturday supervisor at Friends of the Koala, and you came in with me while I did my shift and just kind of hung around the hospital there. And yeah, yeah, it's pretty pricey, Val. Pretty pricey. Uh-huh. I am being reminded that my camera battery is now getting really low. So that's really good. What I've just discovered, again with this testing, is that that's probably what's going to make the biggest limit because that particular camera, you can't charge it while you're using it. You have to actually take the battery out and charge them. So that means that we should probably wrap this live stream up. I'm so pleased that that you've all been able to come and share this hour or two with me, however long you've been here. Rob is the winner. Rob was here within 5-10 minutes of the stream starting and has stuck all the way along, which I greatly appreciate. And Rob, it's only 10 minutes till the new year. Wow. There you go. How's that for finishing off a 2025 by spending it in at Koala Gardens with Valentine? That's pretty cool. I don't want to let the camera run right out because I'm not sure what that might do to a live stream. I do want to make sure that the live stream does save because it would be a shame not to have all of this at the end of it. Oh, fireworks have just started. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that and Rob was one of my very earliest followers on YouTube, like way back. I have no idea when you first started following me, but it was a very long time ago, and so it was really exciting to see you come here, and everybody that's been chatting here have been supporting for a long time. So I am thrilled that there you go, 2016. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So yeah, it's really good to see um, people that have been supporting what I'm doing for many many years get to be here for the very first ever live stream. And as I said, I'll be talking to people on Patreon. I'll be talking to uh, social media about what are the best ideas for how to actually structure and manage and run live streams, what people want, so that we can really make the most of these experiences. So thank you all so much for being here and for enjoying a bit of Valentine on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I'm the only one I think that it's New Year's Day for, but some of you are about to have it clock over.